Hello everyone. In this class, we'll try to learn about salivary secretion. The learning objectives would be to name the major and minor salivary glands, give the composition and functions of saliva, outline the mechanism and control of salivary secretion, understand the dysfunctions that occur due to abnormalities of salivary secretion. Salivary secretion. Secretion from the salivary gland is called as salivary secretion. It is secreted from heterogeneous group of salivary glands located in and around the mouth cavity. Salivary glands are two types, major and minor salivary glands. Major salivary glands are three pairs, parotid, sublingual and submandibular glands. There are many minor salivary glands located in the mucosa of oral cavity, at the pharyngeal outlet, in the palates and in the buccal pouches. Based on the nature of secretion, salivary glands may be serous that exclusively release water secretion and mucus that secrete viscous secretions mainly containing mucus and mixed that secrete moderately viscous secretion. Parotid glands are the largest salivary glands. They are entirely serous glands. The parotid secretion is rich in water and electrolytes and they lack mucins. They pour in the secretion into the mouth cavity through parotid duct, that is also called as duct of Stenson. Sublingual glands are situated below the tongue in the floor of the mouth. Secretion from these glands drain directly into the mouth through sublingual ducts. So they are also called as ducts of Rivinus. Sublingual glands are predominantly mucous glands. Submandibular glands, also called as submaxillary glands, are situated below the inner ramus of mandible on both sides. They pour their secretion into mouth cavity through submandibular ducts, that is ducts of Wharton. These glands are mixed type, both serous and mucous. So this diagram showing the location of parotid gland. So this is the base of the parotid gland and it is the parotid duct. Salivary gland consists of base units called as salivon. Each salivon consists of acinous, intercalated duct and striated duct. Acinus is a sac-like structure containing mini pyramidal cells. Myoepithelial cells are present at places surrounding the pyramidal cells. Serous cells of acinus contain mini endoplasmic reticulum and zymosin granules and secrete digestive enzymes, whereas mucous cell contain mucin droplets and secrete mucin. This diagram showing different types of cells, mucous acinus, serous acinus and seromucous acinus. So this diagram showing the features of serous cells which have a secretory granules, Golgi complex, intercellular canaliculi and microvilli with the tight junctions. The secretion in the acinus is called as primary secretion. Electrolyte composition of primary secretion is similar to that of plasma. The intercalated and striated ducts are lined by cuboidal cells. Secretion from these duct epithelial cells modifies the ionic composition of the secretion from acinus and determines the final composition of saliva. Secretion coming out of the duct is called as modified or final secretion. Innervation. The parasympathetic innervation is the major neural factor for salivary secretion. So the centers for parasympathetic fibers are located in the medulla. Preganglionic fibers for parotid gland are present in the 9th cranial nerve that originates in inferior salivary nucleus and terminate on otic ganglion, from where postganglionic fibers originate and innervate the gland. Fibers for submandibular and sublingual glands are present in the 7th cranial nerve that originate from the superior salivary nucleus and terminate in the submandibular ganglion, from where postganglionic fibers come out and supply these glands. In general, parasympathetic stimulation is excitatory, and sympathetic stimulation fibers originate from the upper cervical segments and terminate in superior cervical ganglion. Postganglionic fibers leave the ganglion and innervate acini, duct and blood vessels. In general, sympathetic stimulation is inhibitory. This is a diagram showing the innervation of the parotid gland. So it starts from the inferior salivary nucleus, runs into the glossopharyngeal nerve, then it forms the tympanic plexus. From the tympanic plexus, it goes to the otic ganglion where they are going to form the postganglionic fibers to innervate the parotid gland. And superior salivary nucleus, it joins the facial nerve. So then it forms from the facial nerve, it forms the chorda tympani. So then it is going to run into the lingual nerve. So then they're going to form the submandibular ganglion. From the submandibular ganglion, it is going to innervate the submandibular as well as sublingual glands. Salivary glands have a high rate of metabolism and high blood flow. Blood flow and metabolism are proportionate to the rate of saliva formation. The rate of salivary secretion in human is about 50 ml per minute per 100 gram of salivary tissue. Blood flow to the salivary gland is about 10 times the blood flow to that of active skeletal muscles. Stimulation of parasympathetic to salivary glands increases the blood flow by 10 times by causing vasodilatation, which occurs due to the secretion of VIP, bradykinin, and acetylcholine at the nerve terminals. Sympathetic stimulation decreases the blood flow. The rate of secretion, about 1.3 liters, that is around 1000 to 1800 ml of saliva is secreted every day. Salivary secretion even continues in a minimum amount during sleep. However, an orexigenic stimulus, especially sight, smell, or thought of food, causes immediate and profuse salivation. Salivary secretion increases in response to feeding. Saliva contains mainly the water and some solids, 0.5%. Solids are organic and inorganic. Organic solids are mainly enzymes such as ptyalin, lysosome, lactoperoxidase, carbonic anhydrase, lingual lipase, RNase, and DNase. Other organic solids include kallikrein, blood group substances, and secretory immunoglobulin and nerve growth factors. Inorganic solids like cations, sodium, calcium, potassium, and magnesium, anions like chloride, bicarbonates, phosphates, sulfates, bromide ions constitute the inorganic solids. Saliva is always hypotonic to plasma. Greater rate of secretion, higher is the tonicity. The tonicity of saliva is about 70% that of plasma. The pH of saliva is alkaline, it's around 8. The pH of original secretion of the salivary gland is slightly acidic, but as the saliva flows down the salivary duct, it becomes alkaline because of secretion of bicarbonate from the duct epithelium. The decrease in the flow rate in duct increases the bicarbonate concentration as time to add more carbonate increases, and therefore this increases the pH. However, if the increased flow is due to the parasympathetic stimulation, secretion of bicarbonate from duct cell is more, that increases the salivary content of bicarbonate. Therefore, invariably with increased flow rate, bicarbonate content becomes high. The concentration of potassium in saliva is always greater than the plasma, but with increase in the flow rate, potassium concentration decreases. Saliva contains ptyalin. This is an enzyme called salivary amylase which causes splitting of starch. Salivary amylase reduces starch to oligosaccharide molecules. However, digestion of starch is not impaired in the absence of salivary amylase if pancreas is intact. Action of salivary amylase is maximum at pH 6.8, but digestion of ptyalin takes place in the stomach as the food remains for the short duration in the mouth. In the stomach, digestion occurs at the center of food bolus, which is still alkaline until the food is thoroughly mixed with the acidic gastric secretion of the stomach. The saliva has many protective functions. Saliva keeps the mouth clean and therefore prevents oral infection. Saliva contains lysosome, which is antibacterial. IgA in saliva provides local immunity, and lactoferrin in saliva is bacteriostatic. Saliva keeps the mouth cavity and tongue moist, which facilitates the speech. The importance of this function of saliva is realized when mouth becomes dry due to decreased salivary secretion that impairs speech. Dryness of the mouth is usually felt before appearing for an interview, especially for learners. Saliva increases the taste of food. Taste is perceived by the taste buds present in the tongue. For taste of the food to be well appreciated, food particles should better be present in solution. Saliva dissolves the food and makes the solution of food. Saliva helps in mastication and swallowing. This is due to the lubricant property of saliva. The mucin in saliva lubricates food. In the absence of saliva, deglutition becomes impossible, especially for dry foods. Saliva contains bicarbonate, which buffers gastric acid to some extent in the stomach and therefore reduces the heartburn. Protein in saliva protects enamel of the teeth and thus provides them strength. Proline also binds with the tannin and reduces its toxicity. Saliva prevents injury to the buccal mucosa by diluting the hot and irritant food materials. In animals, salivation, that is panting, is an important process of dissipation of heat and therefore has a contribution in temperature regulation. Saliva excretes certain heavy metals, thiocyanates, and morphine from the body. Mechanism of secretion. Salivary secretion occurs in two stages: secretion in the acinus and secretion in the duct. Secretion in the gland acini, the secretion is called as primary secretion, which amylase concentration is more. The enzyme is produced and stored in the zymosin granules. On stimulation, granules are exocytosized and enzyme is released. The electrolytes secreted from the epithelial cells of the end pieces are sodium, potassium, bicarbonate, and chloride. The fluid of the primary secretion is almost isotonic to that of plasma. In the ducts, the composition of secretion when fluid passes through the intercalated and striated ducts, it is modified. So this is called as modified or final secretion. So this is because sodium chloride are extracted from the fluid, and potassium and bicarbonate are added to the fluid. The ducts do not change the volume of the saliva but only modify the composition of the primary secretion. Saliva is continuously secreted. However, a large number of stimuli that increases the salivary secretion. The important stimuli are anticipation, thought of sight and smell of the food, discussion on food, and presence of food in the mouth cavity. Chewing also important stimulus for salivary secretion. So this diagram showing primary secretion and the modified or final secretion. Okay. So in the primary secretion, from primary secretion, sodium and chloride will be reabsorbed, and bicarbonate and potassium, they get secreted, and thus they are going to modify the primary secretion. Control of salivary secretion. It's mainly controlled by neural mechanism, especially parasympathetic stimulation. Parasympathetic stimulation occurs by sight, smell, and taste of the food. Chewing of the food is a potent stimulus for salivary secretion. These factors act through salivary nucleus in the medulla. Parasympathetic activation increases the salivary secretion rich in enzymes and mucin. It increases secretion causing vasodilatation via bradykinin, VIP, and acetylcholine, and stimulation of glandular tissue. So this is the mechanism by which they are going to stimulate the medulla, the nuclei which are there, inferior and superior salivary nucleus, the sight, taste, smell, and chewing, it stimulates. Through 9th and 7th nerve, they stimulate otic ganglion and submandibular ganglion. So then post ganglionic fibers, they're going to act on parotid and submandibular gland to increase the enzyme rich secretion, and they will also lead to vasodilatation. Sympathetic stimulation fibers temporarily increase the secretion but finally decreases it. The transient increase in the secretion is due to contraction of the myoepithelial cells of the glandular tissue. However, sympathetic stimulation causes vasoconstriction that decreases saliva formation and makes the secretion thick. Saliva is secreted reflexly by contact of food with mouth cavity. So this reflex secretion is unconditioned reflex as this is present since birth. However, salivary secretion due to smell or thought of the food is called as conditioned reflex as these are learned by social and environmental factors. Salivary secretion exclusively occurs in the cephalic phase, that is sight, smell, thought of food and presence of food in the mouth and chewing. Secretion is almost nil in gastric and intestinal phase of the digestion of food. The hormonal regulation of saliva is negligible. Coming to applied physiology, xerostomia is a condition in which there is a uh, inconsistent decrease in the secretion of saliva. This causes dryness of the mouth and predisposes to oral infection. Xerostomia is a common in acute stressful situation that happens due to sympathetic stimulation. Sjogren syndrome is an autoimmune disorder present mainly with a xerostomia and xerophthalmia. Main presentation are dry mouth, decreased tear formation, dry skin and joint pain. Sialorrhea is a salivary secretion which is increased persistently. Sialosis is a stone formed in the ducts of salivary glands. So there can be viral infection which can lead to parotid gland inflammation. Commonly seen in children is mumps. So this is in brief about the salivary glands and some of the applied aspects related to it. Thank you.